What's up, summoners? King Blair here. Today we're gonna be making an arena defense tier list that hopefully after watching these tier lists you know what to expect when you go up in arena, and you have some ideas on how to better pick some units for your arena defense. So hopefully it's a fun video for you guys and you guys enjoy it. So if you like the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and join the Discord server. You have been doing amazing, all of them. Stay subscribed for more amazing content, and to show me that you like this tier list and you want to see me make more in the future, make sure you click that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So you may be wondering, this doesn't look like a tier list. What is this Excel sheet? Why are you bringing them back? So I just want to go really quickly over. If you're just here for the tier list, just skip a little bit over. You'll see the full tier list. I already organized it for you guys, but I did want to show you guys how I actually did this for the top picks. So I actually went into the top 100 legend defenses yesterday. So yeah, it was all very close to reset day. So these are some of the stronger defenses that you will see in Legend Arena. I didn't do any statistics on Champion, which is where I am, where I typically rank Champion 2 or Champion 1. But the Legends, usually they're using the best units, but also give you guys some thoughts on why they're good and things like that. So don't be worried about that. But I did go in and count all of them and saw the percentage usage. I'm already going to show you guys kind of like the idea behind that. These were the percentages that I got for it. But this was the one done most recently, and as you guys see, we'll talk about it later. The percent usage does play a lot into how the meta roll is, and you'll see this percentages again when I talk about what's meta, what's not. But just in case you did want to see that. The other thing is I know not all units are on the list. So here are the units that are not on the list. I will talk about them after I show what the tiers are like. So that way you guys get a better idea on these units. For some reason, there's no really good tier list maker that has all the units, and these are the ones that I found that were relevant that are not on the list that I'm about to show you guys. And of course, one of the biggest one, Benevolent, is actually a top pick. So when you see top pick, just remember that I will be going back to him. So all right, let's actually go into the tier list. So this is the tier list, y'all. I did already organize it for you guys, so I'm going to show it to you guys for the people that are just here, just to see the list. But if you want to see why I place certain units in certain places, make sure you stick around. The other reason I did it this way is to hopefully to make this go a lot faster, because last time I tried to do this and I was trying to rank them while doing it, I missed a lot of things. I didn't have my things set up, and it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. But yeah, so let me just go over the tier list, and then we'll actually start talking about the heroes going from the bottom up. So first, meta. So these are units that have 20% over usage rate in Legend RTA. They are on the tier of their own. They're used so often that the second I got to high champion, I'm seeing these defenses and these units all the freaking time, and it's so annoying. But yeah, top picks is units that have 5% or plus. Basically, these are units that are really strong, that top level players, legend level players use a lot, and I see one of these at least every time I refresh my list. Most typically, it's pretty typical. For strong picks, these are units that I see a lot, but for some reason they're not being used as much in Legend level arena. But I still think they're amazing picks. They're extremely powerful. They do a lot for your arena defense, and you will be getting some wins if you have them in there. Good picks are picks that, you know, they actually perform well. Some legend players actually do use them, like Ross, but they're not as commonly used and require very high gear to actually make them work, which is why they still can be really good, but they're not as good as like the meta or the top picks, but they're still really good picks, decent picks. These are picks that still work. Not ideal, I wouldn't recommend them, but if you have them and if you're trying to play around with some units, they're okay. You know, you can try to implement them. Watch the Shuri giving you that extra speed, being able to take out a dark unit, things like that. But we'll talk about them more individually later. Sleeper picks. These are picks that I rarely ever see, but I think people are just sleeping on them because they're actually amazing defense units. I didn't put them in the strong or good because they don't get the representation, but I really do think these are picks that if you have them built properly, you can get some wins and people won't know how to deal with those units. So that's why in the sleeper pick. And niche, it's just they require a lot of setup, but they can actually perform really well if you give them the right setup. And then the non-ideal, you shouldn't be using this. It's like a worst case scenario. It's okay to use them, but you shouldn't be using them. And then the unsure, I'm not sure how these units perform. They're not really great, but I know they could be used, especially Guider Aether. I feel like people haven't played around with them. Same with Dami. So I put them there because they have potential, but I just haven't seen anyone really use them. So I don't have a lot of information on them. So all right, let's actually dive into the list. We're going to be starting from the bottom. So if you're here for later on, we'll start going up here. as we go later on. But alright, so first the Unsure. Basically, these are units like, they do a lot of things like Wonder Silk. I know can lock down a unit. I'm just not sure about the AI. I have never seen them being used, and I know they have potential, but I just don't know where to put them. So I ended up putting them Unsure. Like Dami has the Reflect. It could be unique. It could be interesting. And then the Guided Aether is also there. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning is that a lot of these defenses are trying to guard against Seaside and are trying to guard against Oxlots with Judge Kise. So just keep that in mind as we go through the list. So the non-ideal ones, a lot of these really just boils down to they don't provide any defensive value. So for example, Elfelt, no defensive value. She has a decreased defense, but she can't soul burn. She's on defense. She can't do anything to protect herself. And she'll get popped. Luna, while she can take out a unit, a lot of people use like Oxlots, Judge Kise, that's fodder. She doesn't have enough survivability, and she's not going to be going before them, so it's kind of fodder. Same thing with Specialty Change Carrot. She's probably going to get killed in the initial burst, and there's not much you can do there. And if she survives, she doesn't do enough to warrant her having a spot there. Akali, her AI is still completely messed up. You can't soul burn the S3, even though you can get faster than the enemy. She can hit anyone and then you get nothing out of it. Wanda, too squishy. She can go first, but she'll just get popped immediately. And because she's dark, she's going to target light first. So it's pretty easy to put a light bait to just take care of her. Spectre T, well, annoying. Again, really easy to deal with when there's 4 units. You can have someone that does AoE, like a Judge Kise, and then it's GG. Lilibet, while interesting, Earth, kind of slow. We'll just get one shot. Iseria, we'll just get one shot. Tamarine for a Soul Weaver, too slow, so she takes way too long to get set up. Sigrid, you can't soul burn her. She's not going to be killing anyone, and they're going to be killing her in seconds. Blaze Dingo can't soul burn. If he doesn't get the soul burn, all he does is the S3 on someone, but he's also extremely squishy, so he probably won't even get a turn. They're just going to Oxlots just Kise or Oxlots anything, or Basar. Like, there's so many counters to him. Sermia, same thing. Even though there is a speed Sermia, without the soul burn, she most likely won't be killing. If you have her on a speed build, and that's just a fact of it. They can also just bruiser her out pretty easily with some FCC, so definitely not ideal. And then Seaside just eats her up. Pavel, it's just too easy to just be able to have someone faster than him, like a Crimson Armin. And then if you make him too fast and he can't get past the Crimson Armin Seaside offense, then you basically don't get the kill on Seaside, you lose. And then there's a lot of ways to kill him. He's way too squishy, doesn't provide any debuffs, and most likely isn't going to be killing the target, and he can't soul burn, so he can't do his attack. Soul Bad Guy, while he has a very interesting counterattack, he's way too squishy, doesn't do enough burst damage to actually warrant him having a spot, and will just die to a Judge Kise cleave. Not fast enough. Melissa, even if you have her speed, you might think, oh, this could kind of rile it, but the S3 is going to go on someone random. The S2 will not. Most likely, she won't be killing. You might be missing a debuff. It could be unique. I could honestly even put her in Unsure, but you'd have to have godlike stats because she's not that fast. And it's really easy to just Judge Kise her, which is the main reason she's there. Rin, while she does provide buffs, again, we'll just get Judge Kise or tanked out. She does provide some unique buffs, but she's just too easy to kill. And the buffs are random. So it's not strong enough to actually warrant a spot in your defense. Yuna, there is better attack setters for those niche teams that want to do a cleave. She doesn't provide speed imprint, so she's not the best for that. Lots, the AI is going to mess you up every single time. And he's not that tanky, so he'll probably die pretty quickly. Yufine, she's not going to get a turn. She's just going to get cleaved. Bellona, there's better decreased defense breakers, like Tanimbria, which we'll talk about later. So she really doesn't have a spot, and she's also extremely squishy, really easy to kill, and doesn't do anything once you kill her. So not ideal. Ludwig needs invincibility to work. Really slow, not going to be doing anything. He just has a terrible kit, won't be doing anything. Oxlots won't, like, the S3 is cool. Yeah, you might get someone because you silence them, but the amount of times that you're actually going to get a win because you silence someone is not going to be that often. If they see an Oxlots, they're probably just going to bruiser you out. This guy is fodder. You're basically losing a spot on your team. He's not doing anything. So let me see on the ones that did not put pup. Cess, again, just damage, nothing else. Araminthia, there's so many better units that do stuns, and she's extremely squishy. Will just get popped out of existence. So there is that. So all right, let's go on to the niche tier. So for the niche tier, BBK. So I really struggle with BBK, and you might want to roast me because of it, because you might be using BBK. I actually think she has a lot of potential. She could honestly go in sleeper pick, but she needs very specific setups to work. So the one that I'm saying niche is if you have a counter set BBK on Moonlight Dreamblade, and they don't know that you have her on Moonlight Dreamblade, and you have her kind of like in a cleave team, she can actually win you a fight. On counterattack set, she is really scary when she counterattacks. She can do a lot of damage, survive for a very long time. And she can dodge Judge Kise cleaves, counter on the Judge Kise, and then just stop the cleave right there. So she does have really good potential. So she could honestly even go in a strong pick, but she needs a very specific gear requirement that is extremely hard for most players. And then you need to have units that will supplement that more. So like Crimson Armaments would work to try to help her survive, FCC. So she definitely has the potential to go into a strong pick, but you need very, very good gear for that. And if you have a Tempest Syrian, you're probably going to be using her instead. And we'll talk about her later. Celestia Mercedes, if you have one of those cleave teams, she does a lot of damage. She does get an extra turn by herself. She doesn't need to soulburn for that. So that it helps a lot. Maya, very annoying in those tank teams. She can be really annoying if you have like an anti-debuff team and you're trying to stop people from making like dizzies or something. She can be extremely annoying with the counterattack. She can actually provoke a lot. Needs a very good team around her, and mostly just using like pure tank teams where you're not really trying to win, you're trying to stall. So very annoying for stall comp. So like on Sundays, she'd actually be really good. Silverblade needs a Bazaar. So if they know how to counter your Bazaar and your initial setup, you're going to lose. Lytica, if you really have a team that struggles against Bazaar, it could be good. Her AI, I believe, targets the highest combat readiness, so she can be pretty good. Not a bad unit, but again, can be stopped by a lot of different things. You can just slap on an Earth unit to tank her out, which is why she's not ideal. But she could definitely work out for you if you have the right team around her. Judge Kise, a fast. This is mostly because like damage Judge Kise is not that great. She will never get a turn. But if you have a speed Judge Kise that can cut in into a cleave, resetting cooldowns on your enemy before they even get a turn and they don't expect that, oh, you can get so many wins with that. So definitely pretty unique there. Luluca for those teams that you're trying to just get a decreased defense. We talked about Bologna. The thing with Luluca is she actually does more for your team. She also provides some buffs for your team, so she can actually do a little bit more than just decreased defense if you're doing a cleave team. So it's okay. Honestly, she should almost go in non-ideal. Specimen says, I actually have lost to some before. They would go in the Silverblade or Minted teams, and they can be extremely dangerous because even if you stop the Bazaar S3, if the Silverblade still, even if you kill a Silverblade, the Specimen Says can still be a very strong Specimen Says on RNL, and he can still take out some other units. Not ideal, but again, there is some teams that he can actually function. Arbiter or Vildred is just for those really fast teams where you want the imprint. That's pretty much it. It's so easy to tank him with the Kayron. Tywin, again, decreased defense, has a 100% chance, one of the more consistent. Mui, if you don't have a Bazaar and you're trying to do a Silverblade or Mint the team, it's going to make it really hard for you to get the turn, but you could have her, Challenger Dami, Silverblade, and then someone else to set up, and it could be pretty unique. I actually think it'd be pretty cool to be able to strip buffs and give attack buff, kind of lowering the requirements on your gear and giving your Silverblade a big burn. So I could definitely see her being used if you're trying to use like a fast team. But again, probably better options for you, but still, could be pretty unique to try out. Alright, now onto the sleeper pick, or for the niche. I don't think there's any. Oh yeah, so Shuri, I've seen some people use Shuri, whether in a fast build or a very strong build, and he can definitely get a run for your money. He can definitely give your team the first turn, win you the fight, and you could absolutely win. So you could have damage or speed, and the opponent has to guess. So definitely some mind games there with Shuri. Judith, if you're trying to get first turn, if you have a team that needs to get first turn, Judith is your girl. Doesn't do a lot more afterwards, but I saw Astronauts. I posted on the YouTube. Astronauts does use her because she's extremely fast. She has one of the fastest base speed for combat readiness, and she gives like 30%. So it's nothing to laugh at. So definitely not a bad pick. If you're really trying to get the first turn on defense, you can definitely use her there, which is why she's in the niche section, because very specific teams need it built around her. Sid, again, with those speed teams, with us Angelica, that give speed and attack. Sid attacks randomly. So he can definitely take out some units with the S3, and your opponent could absolutely lose from that. But again, requires a very specific setup, requires someone that gives you speed and attack buff, and you have to get the first turn. So it makes it very hard for you to actually build. And the last one is the New Pearl Horizon. Again, kind of in the niche section. you would need someone to strip the buffs, but I definitely think she has the chance. I don't know if her AI works the way it's supposed to, but if the AI works out where she does the S2, there could definitely be a pretty unique sleep team out there for arena defense. That'd be fun to try out and could definitely get you some wins, and just have fun with it. Let people have fun when they go against your defense. But could get you some wins, but people would start attacking it so often. But alright, now let's go to the sleeper picks. So these are picks that I don't see almost at all, but the ones I see are godlike and can definitely win you fights like this. One legend player actually uses Baiken in his arena defense. If y'all didn't know, Baiken's actually pretty fast, and she guarantees the first turn. The other thing that people don't realize about Baiken is that she will always target a water unit. Why is that good? Seaside Bellona offenses are extremely popular, and having someone that can take out Seaside at the beginning of the fight would automatically win you the game, and then you get to have a follow-up after it. So you almost kill a Seaside, you set up your team, and then you are able to kill those Seaside teams. So it's a really good protection against Seaside, and then it really, like Judge Kise with Oxlots, she has a faster base piece than Oxlots, if not the same. So if you're able to outspeed that Oxlots, you kill one of his squishy targets, GG. You get the turn, you kill a unit, they have no way of coming back. So again, she definitely, y'all, I think people are sleeping on her. A lot of people do attack with Seaside Bellona. Majority of the people I see on my defense actually attack me with Seaside Bellona. So she's actually a really good pick that people just aren't picking up and aren't using. I don't know why. It's probably because it's very hard to build and you don't get as much reward of it. But the number one legend player at the time that I saw it, he was way above everyone else. He had a Baiken on his defense. Troublemaker Crosshit for a knight, people are not using him, and he gives like a 40% Aureus to the backline with his passive. He can make a Well of Light be the tankiest unit out there. Imagine having this guy with like a Well of Light or like a Seaside. I know it's redundant on the Seaside, but still. And then he can hold an Adamant Shield. You're doing like 50% damage reduction to your backside unit, who can be your DPS unit, like even like a Rylet. And I don't understand why people are just not building him. He's such a good unit, such a good support, and has so much defensive capabilities. I still don't understand why he's not built. I honestly feel if people actually started building him, he'd be a very strong pick. Diani used to be queen of arena defense back in the day, and she's still really good in RTA. The only reason I see her not being used is because Bazaar still exists, so you'll definitely have to find a way to deal with Bazaar. But I can imagine like an ambitious Tywin team with Diani, and it could be pretty good. The thing is, she's usually on the squisher side, so if Judge Kise comes in and kills her, that would stink. But I definitely think her with ambitious Tywin can definitely do some pretty unique defenses, like with a Seaside and maybe like a Ruel. Definitely potential there. I just don't know why people aren't playing around with her as much, with how much she can provide and how good she is in RTA too. I don't understand that. Maybe it's just because Bazaar is really strong in arena, but I don't get that. Angelica, maybe it's because people don't have as many Angelicas as they could, but I honestly think Angelica is one of the best ways to stop RBs from attacking you. A lot of people use RBs on their offenses and Seaside Bellonas. If you have a fast cleave team and you put in a Angelica to set up for a Sid and you get the kill, they can't RB you. If they see that Angelica and it's a well-built Angelica, they can't RB you. And that is so threatening, to have a unit that can completely pause someone from using a specific unit. The other thing, she gets a very strong dual attack and can survive for a pretty long time. So even if you have her like on a tankier team with 1 DPS, she could definitely work and stop a lot of RBs, especially because RB is so popular now since he was in the Mystic rotation. So definitely a unit that I could see people using more in the future. Cat Clarissa, she has extremely high effect resistance, like built in. If you get several Clarissas, she can start with like 50% effect resistance, which is crazy. And she has a way to cleanse and then has a way to strip buffs. She's definitely a unit that is highly underrated, and I definitely see people using her. The only reason I understand why people don't use her is because Lilius exists and Lilius provides more support, but again, it could be really, really good. Charlotte, really strong, high AoE, extremely tanky, can do a lot of damage and tank like a queen. The only problem with Little Queen Charlotte, while she's sleeper pick and why she probably will never, probably might drop down to niche, might be just because Seaside Bellona will just stomp on her. So that's the one thing that I realized, that Seaside Elena does stomp on her. But if you have a good way to deal with the Seaside on your team, you can definitely use Charlotte there. Like if you have a Rowana, for example. And then you have Seaside, it becomes your healer. And you have someone that does high AoE damage every single turn. Champion Serato, people definitely recall him, but he's still good. He still works against Seaside. He still works against Dizzies. He still works against Arbiter Vildreds because he's able to send the buffs back. I definitely see him having potential. For a while, he was actually being used, but right now, because of Judge Kise, he probably gets clapped. But I definitely see unique builds out there with a very tanky Champ C being able to actually stop some Seaside teams, and then you have the rest of your team to set up for the Judge Kise cleave, and then just make him extremely tanky on lifesteal. I definitely see this guy being annoying because buffs are everywhere, whether you like it or not. Rylot has a debuff. Whatchamacallit? Judge Kise doesn't have a debuff, but Judge Kise is the only team that you'd have to worry about with Champ C, but definitely for like Seaside offenses, he can do really, really good. Rose, extremely hard to build, but a lot of top level legend, even legend players use her. Why? She's actually really fast with her artifact. Like it's up there in speed. She's a knight, so she can protect your team, and she gives attack buff, so you can just clap the enemy. I've seen her with a fallen CC, and that fallen CC was on a freaking Portrait of the Savior, and it did like 10k. And this was in Legend, like peaking Legend, like Champion 2, Champion 1. So she's definitely very underrated. She gives the team a turn, gives attack buff, and provides tank because she's a knight. So she's probably one of the most offensive defensive knights, which is crazy. Sage Ball, everyone hates on this guy, but people don't realize how strong this guy can really be. I have fought against some good Sage Ball and Sassans, and it's disgusting what this guy can do because he can be extremely tanky. And yes, the one problem is going to be Fallen Cecilia, which is why I know people don't use him that often, but he still has a chance to remove immunity and sleep. And he can cut into cleaves extremely easily at different points, so if they don't deal with him, he can just AoE the enemy team and sleep them. With Judge Kise, if you have enough knights to pair them up, he can actually probably cut in between he might be able to cut in. I'm not sure how the Camarines works, but I definitely see this guy working out a lot for you. He's really good at stopping certain cleaves. He can strip buffs, and he can definitely go against the Seaside teams because all he needs is a little bit of luck. And in arena defense, it's okay to have luck. As far as some sleeper picks that I have here, the only one is Armin. Armin is an extremely annoying knight that can actually apply a glancing hit, has heals, has barriers, has a lot that you would want in a knight. So definitely kind of a sleeper pick there. I could definitely see her being pretty good if you decide to build her properly. And then, oh yeah, Bysaria. I actually saw Astronax build her. So the thing about Bysaria, she's also being used by another legend player in arena defense. Why? She's able to AoE attack, strip buffs, and apply cannot be buffed. That can absolutely shut down Seaside teams and could outright probably kill Seaside because you have a chance to just strip any buffs that they may have, do damage afterwards, and then set up cannot be buffed. That is so strong. That can honestly turn the fight for you. It's almost like a mini Bazaar if you want to think of it a certain way. But the thing about it is because she's dark, she has a better chance against HU Fiend if they do decide to use HU Fiend. So she can definitely do a lot of damage. More on the aggressive side and can get one shot, but definitely has potential there for an arena defense unit, especially for those fast teams. So alright, let's go to the decents. This one, it's like they're okay. They're not like sleeper picks where they have hidden potential. They're just okay units. You probably, if you have something better, you should use it, but they can fill out some slots for you. So G-Perg or regular Purges, he can counterattack a lot. He can stop a cleave. If he counterattacks on the Judge Kise and stuns her, that's all you really need. Against Seaside teams, not going to be doing a lot if they have the Crimson Arming protecting, but again, can survive for a couple of turns, be annoying. And then for random Bruiser teams, it's pretty annoying to deal with an AoE stun every turn and can do a lot of damage. I've seen some furry defenses in Champion and they're pretty annoying. So definitely not the worst pick. Fire Can, hard to take down. He is fire, so he does lose to Seaside, but he does do a lot of damage, hard to take down, could definitely survive a Judge Kise, and can just be annoying. Crescent Moon Rin, kind of unique, because she's really, really fast and can set up immunity for your team really, really early, and it forces your opponent to try not to bring too many buffs if they're trying to go full Bruiser. The only problem with her is she is extremely squishy, so she will get popped out of existence after she steals the buffs, which really does hurt her a lot. She also has the potential to stun, which is kind of nice, but not the best, not ideal. Cowrick, biggest problem with him, he will always target Earth, so it's really easy to put Earth bait for the enemy. The other thing is, again, he's extremely squishy. If he doesn't get the kill, which a lot of the times he won't, because it's pretty easy to just bait him out since he's fire, but he can still reset. He can still potentially reset a priority unit if they don't bring any earth units, and can do a lot of damage. And if he survives, he can actually do a decent amount of damage. But again, not ideal. Eden, I've seen him around in a couple of defenses. His barrier is extremely massive, extremely annoying to deal with. So it forces the opponent to bring a stripper such as Bazaar or Benevolent Roman. But again, nothing crazy there. He's just there for the barrier and for being annoying as a knight. G-Perk can stop a lot of F Lytica teams. So people do use F Lytica RV Vildred. That is one of the popular arena offenses. If you have a G-Perk there tanking for you, he can completely stop the cleave there. Ravi, as much as I love her, she's annoying with the counterattack. If she sets up with the S3 and they can't kill her, she can definitely stop a cleave. But it's just, it takes a while to set up, and it's pretty easy to just ignore her. If they just ignore her, she doesn't do anything. So definitely loses there and gets absolutely stomped by Seaside. But again, decent option. Rylot can't counter Seaside, can potentially survive a Kise cleave, but again, his defensive stats are lacking a lot. And he needs to get the turn to actually start doing stuff with his counter set. That's the biggest problem. He's a little bit on the slower side because he does have to set up. But again, he's not bad. He definitely can do his job in arena defense to try to take down some Seasides. And if you have a really good one, can honestly catch some people by surprise. Watch a Shuri mainly there for the speed. And a lot of times, if you have a good one and you have a setup with Challenger Nami, she can definitely take over, kill a unit, and give you the extra 10 speed. The thing versus Vildred is that Vildred is easy to fire tank out. With Watch a Shuri, you have no idea who he's going for, and he will definitely get the kill if you have a very little setup. Unlike Vildred, who does a little bit less damage, but does it AOE. Roman is a stripper. If you have no strippers, no Bazaars, and you're worried about getting tanked out by Crimson Armin, you can always spend a Roman there. Not the best. There are better options, but again, he's there. For some other decent ones that I have here, Angelica, very tanky, very annoying, can set up immunity, but most of the time can either just be Bazaard, can cleave the rest of the team, and because there's 4 units, unlike Guild Wars, can't survive for that long. Corvus, annoying fire tank. He used to be a lot better and a lot more annoying. He can still do his annoying stuff, but he just doesn't have the same survivability, so not as strong. Shadow Rose, if you have a godlike one, can honestly be pretty oppressing because you get 25% and 25% pushback. Also a knight, so you can give her Aureus and Adamant Shield to actually be able to protect yourself. So not bad there, but needs pretty good gear. Her speed is a little bit lacking, and then the S2 is kind of annoying. So she's decent, but again, nothing crazy that she can actually do. So those are the decent that were not on this list. As far as the good picks, so now we're getting to the cream of the crop. We're starting to get to the top. We're starting to get to like the top units. So for good picks, these are units that are actually really strong and often can fill out teams or places where you don't have certain things. So Vivian, for example, because of her new artifact and because of how good Dingus Orb is on her, if you have a fast one, you set up attack buff and a thick barrier on your Vivian, so she's guaranteed the next turn, and you get it overall just sets up a lot of really nice buffs. Attack and immunity are nothing to laugh of in arena, and she does have the survivability from her Dingus Orb. So definitely can be pretty good for a speed cleave, especially with a Challenger Nami. You can also have her be your attack buffer and part of your cleave because of Challenger Nami being there for the next unit that might set up. So definitely a double unit that can do a lot, and it's pretty annoying to deal with. Tanimbria. So out of all the decreased defense breakers, she can also disrupt. And she can also be very tanky. Her on counter set is very dangerous. If you're trying to cleave with Judge Kise and you don't get the kill the first time, which most of the time you won't, she can counterattack, sleep, cut in, AoE attack, and make the whole enemy sleep with decreased defense. Extremely powerful. You do see her in a couple of legend level defenses, and she can be extremely annoying to deal with and hard to take down and very dangerous on counter set. It's definitely one of the best decreased defensors and just does a lot more than just decreased defense. Sets a lot of disruptions, and now you're starting to get to disruptions. So a lot of these units don't really have that many disruptions. Down here, not that many disruptions, not that many disruptions. She has a lot of disruption. As far as Shooting Star Arcades, she does give the revive. I know a lot of people say, oh, Royal is broken, and you'll see Royal is broken for arena defense. But Shooting Star can still do immortality, and she can also make it. So if they don't kill a certain unit, and she gives them immortality like a Seaside on your defense, that's going to be really hard to deal with if they didn't bring a stripper. So definitely can be pretty polarizing, and does have the revive, so if you don't have a Royal Light, she can definitely be pretty good. Kise actually used by a couple of top level players. She can stop a cleave if you give her either highlight lands or I forgot the other one. Oh, Steadfast Gatekeeper. She can cut in, AoE provoke. That is so crushing. And worst case scenario, you don't cut into the cleave. She's still a very beefy knight that can just survive the cleave and then come in the next turn and basically take away their next turn, which is really, really good. Again, very versatile. And if you have a counter set and a slower build where you're just trying to survive and then provoke, she can actually do a lot of work there. Dark Corvus, very annoying to deal with. If they don't bring a high DPS unit, they can actually get soloed by Dark Corvus. Traditionally also put in very tanky teams because it's hard to kill him when you have massive barriers, and it's hard to kill the rest of his team if there's a lot of units protecting him. So again, very, very powerful. Montmorency, extremely annoying, hard to debuff. If she has the proper protection with a lot of knights, will be super hard to actually kill if they have a PvP one, because she's also pretty beefy. If you have like knights with her and she has the high health pool of a Soul Weaver, can output so many heals, can put immunity up, and can cleanse debuffs from Seaside. Very good against Seaside, can survive some Judge Kise cleaves with the right setup. DJ Bazaar, if they have a fast one, I have lost to this guy so many times because it's a 30% push up and gives the team immunity. It's extremely annoying and dangerous because it's such a big push up, and even if they put him in a tank team, now they have great immunity set up. Can be on the little squishier side, and he can also stun with the S1, so pretty annoying. Kind of just there for the immunity push, but then again, it can be really dangerous. Ammo Haste, a very tanky unit that can actually stop Arbiter Vildred offenses, which is really, really solid because people definitely are using Arbiter Vildred Seaside. So forces them into a certain playstyle, can easily survive a Judge Kise cleave, and you can put him on Stella Harpa to let your team survive even longer, let him S3, do high damage, and heal the rest of your team. Definitely a pretty good choice for an arena defense unit if you're getting RB'd a lot. Acades, extremely annoying. If you don't kill Acades, you're probably going to lose the fight. If you don't kill Acades within like turn 4, that means he's already done like S2, S3, and she's going to be pumping out so many heals, so much survivability, and you can't lock her down because she has high effect resistance. Very hard to deal with unit. Good at stopping Bazaars. Loses a little bit to Judge Kise, but if you survive Judge Kise cleave and they decide not to target her and you have another big tank or bruiser, they're going to lose. And because people don't know a lot about Acades, they're probably going to lose. Ray sets up barriers, tanky, can be put on Touch of Rekos. Touch of Rekos is the one I meant, not Touch of Rekos, not Stella Harpa. Stella Harpa for Emil Haste would also be good, but Touch of Rekos is really good. Touch of Rekos for Ray makes him extremely annoying. He can remove debuffs. He can set up your team for a lot. Since he's a Soul Weaver, he can also heal your team for a lot. Not a bad choice. Not used a lot, but definitely not bad. Ross, oh y'all, Ross can be really, really annoying. Sets up increased defense buff, pretty tanky, and has an S2 that provides a decreased defense if lucky, and attacks with the highest attack and provides immunity. So it can definitely be really annoying. If he's on Elris Sword, he can also take off buffs from the enemy, which can definitely hurt them if they're trying to bruiser you or trying to do other things. So definitely pretty good defensively. Not the best out there, but definitely a really solid option. Maid Chloe, if she's paired with the Seaside and an arena defense, you better watch out because she's going to be reviving them and they're going to be slapping you. So yes, she has counters, but she can be very annoying. And then if they have a very fast team and you decide to bruiser her out, then you're just letting her get an attack buff on the enemy team, on the rest of the team. All revivers are honestly really, really strong and force the opponent to bring certain things, which makes it predictable. Since you have a Maid Chloe, you already know they're going to have to bring like Angelica. Lets you play around more with the units you've got. But alright, now let's go. And as far as good picks, I don't think I had any. Yeah, there's no good picks that weren't already on this list. So now we are at the strong pick. Whew. This video's taking a while. I need to take a little water break. But alright, we're here at the strong picks. So from strong picks up, these are units that you will see on a lot of arena defenses, and you could try to incorporate into your arena defenses. This is where you're trying to get to the point where it's like pretty powerful units are starting to show their heads. So first off, Seaside Bellona. she is not being used as much because Rowana does counter her and they can try to booster you out, but you're forcing them to booster you out. That's already really good. If you're forcing your opponent into a playstyle, that's already extremely powerful. You're already setting up so much, and you can be so annoying when you slap on your C-side. It is extremely annoying to try to deal with a good C-side, and I personally always avoid them because they are very tanky, have innate survivability, sometimes they have Bloodstone, and then the Rengar specialty lets them eat up my DPSs, and if you don't deal with her fast, you're gonna lose. But then if you try to kill her and you're not able to, then the rest of the team can just slap you. Definitely a very underrated unit. She's on my arena defense right now, and I was like struggling in champ 5s. When I put her in, easily climbed to champ 2. Don't get a lot of wins, but don't get a lot of losses either, which is really, really solid. So again, very, very strong pick. Does see a lot of play as well. You probably have seen her at least once. Faithless Lytica, one of the best combat readiness boosters. She's able to strip one buff, push up, and then get an extra turn afterwards and set up skill nullifier. That is extremely powerful. You being able to do that forces the opponent to have to deal with her. They have to bring General Purges, but General Purges might not be enough. If you pair her up with like a Cerise or like a Bassar, they can't really do much about Faithless Lytica. One of the best setups because not only does she guarantee the turn for your attack team, but she also gives the team survivability. So again, extremely powerful and one of the higher base speeds. So if they're trying to cleave you, they're not going to be able to if you have a fast Faithless Lytica. So you're forcing them into a certain playstyle, which means that you have all the power. Lilius has definitely dropped a little bit from before. Used to be one of the most used units in defense, but she still does amazing. She's a knight, so she has access to some of the best defensive artifacts, such as Aureus and Adamant Shield. She also can use Hillock Lance to try to cut into some cleaves. People forget Hillock Lance and Steadfast Gatekeeper are a thing, and Lilius S3 can also push back. So what makes it really nice is it stops people from trying to Bassar you. She's a knight, so she can give survivability to your team. You can give her any knight artifact and also have her cut into the enemy team. Since she's faster, typically, if they try to booster you out, they're taking high damage with the S3, getting pushed back, getting S1, getting dual attacks. Very, very annoying unit to deal with, and very, very tanky. And also has a 2-turn provoke, which can honestly end fights right there and then. So just because she's a knight and has so much utility, definitely gives her the spot. Apaka's Ravi, y'all, she's very powerful. Easily lives through a Kise, easily lives through a seaside. She can do a lot of damage afterwards as well. While she has no way to provide support for the rest of the team or survivability, the amount of times that people can't cleave you because she is there makes it so your defense will get attacked way less. She's still extremely powerful and extremely annoying to deal with. If they don't bring the right units to deal with her, they will just lose the fight. She does have a lot of counters, but again, very, very powerful pick if you're in need of a bruiser in your team. Assassin Cartuja. So Assassin Cartuja, y'all, this guy is annoying. This guy is really annoying still. If you don't have a Viseria, which a lot of people don't still have, he can be extremely annoying, very RNG based. So yes, he does lose to Viseria, but if they don't have a Viseria, it's all RNG. They try to cleave you with just Kise, they have to have Oath Key, which means that if you have an all-tank team, they're not going to be doing as much damage. They're not going to be getting the kill they need. So definitely very, very annoying to deal with. Forces damage deals to have Oath Key, which makes it so you can have better setups. And pair with Rylet and Arby, pretty freaking amazing. Dizzy. Dizzy is still a really good unit. Everyone just recalled their Champ C. They really don't have a lot of ways to deal with her. She can still snuff out wins. She could either be on Lela or Abyssal Crown. If she's an Abyssal Crown and she counterattacks, can stop a cleave in its tracks. If she's on Lela Violin, on counterattack, can stop Bruisers, can stop Seaside Bellonas, and it's just so annoying. She can also be extremely tanky on counterattack set, and the amount of disruptions that she provides, she's one of the best at disrupting. And if they don't have a Champ C or another high healer, they're not going to be trying to, they can't do much. And you'll definitely get a lot of defense victories or not be attacked a lot because people have to either have the answer for her or they don't, which again puts you in a good position. Selene cleaves are very popular, and Selene, especially Oxlot's cleaves, and Selene destroys Oxlot's cleaves and forces them to play a certain type of way. You are starting to see her more and more as people are actually starting to invest in her, getting the molars for her. So she can be very, very scary. Way too much RNG whenever she's there. So it makes it very scary for people to try to cleave you. And then if they don't deal with her, she can actually do a lot of damage and be pretty annoying in the fight. But she's primarily just there for the anti-Oxlots, and she does her job pretty well. Also, if they try to bruiser you out with like a Rowana, oh man, Rowana. Every time you dual attack, Celine might be proccing the S2, which is just a lot of damage that they have to answer for. Charles is still one of the best bruiser units in this game. Out of all the bruisers, he's the bruisers you're going to be using the most. Extremely, extremely powerful. If he counterattacks, he can stop people in their tracks, can set up attack buff, and has his own defense buff. It forces your opponent to be cautious around him and forces him to kind of bruiser you out. If you try to cleave him, and you have a very tanky team, if this guy counterattacks on the Judge Kise, GG. That's it. They pretty much lost. He double taps, GG. Even if he doesn't kill the Judge Kise, that Judge Kise lost her buffs. She's not going to be killing anything with S3 after that. So definitely a really good option for tanky teams to have a source of damage. Very hard to deal with, very annoying, can definitely win you fights easy. Crimson Armin, so slept on, but she is starting to see more play. If they don't have a Bazaar, if they're trying to cleave you, she's a one knight that does what 2 knights do, because if you give her an Aureus, she already has the Adamant Shield as part of her passive, making it so easy to just disrupt and just protect your units. So one of the best knights for damage mitigation, and then if they don't deal with her or they don't Bazaar her, she's able to set up S3, let the rest of the team that might be on the slower side be able to take their turn, or if you have her going last, have your team go first, do what they're supposed to do, survive the cleave, because of the Judge Kise, and then guarantee them an extra turn. Very powerful unit that people really sleep on. Little Queen Charlotte, again, she's a knight that does high single target damage, can easily take out a unit fight, but is also tanky, and also gets combat readiness. Because she gets combat readiness, she can actually cut into some cleave teams, and she can definitely kill units very easily. If she decides to go on Cesar Bellona, that Cesar Bellona is probably not going to survive the burst. The other thing that's nice is that she does get a lot of advantage, so it's a lot easier to build her tanky while still doing damage. Hard to build, but definitely a very good reward because she's very annoying to deal with, does a lot of damage, hard to kill, and also reduces damage for the rest of your team. So it saves you a spot for something else. So you aren't forced just to bring 2 knights just for the damage mitigation. Similar to Crimson Armin, she serves more than one role, which makes her really good. Cerise, people, I don't know why people still hate her. I still think she's one of the best units in this game. The S3, setting up decrease speed and restrict, forces your one of the fastest. So first, fastest combat rate, one of the fastest speed, so she can stop an Oxlots easily. So if she's there, you can easily be faster than an Oxlots. So boom, you already locked out Oxlots teams. Against Seaside teams, you can put the slow, and they're gonna be moving like turtles, right? So you can make them extremely slow, not let them take their turn, just stop them in their tracks. You can also strip buffs, and then she gets invincibility, so she's guaranteed to stun the next turn. So one unit that stops Oxlots, because again, they can't risk it. If their unit gets restricted, can strip buffs, so can strip immunity, and set up for a Seaside or some other damage dealer. So very, very powerful unit. Destina, I hate this unit, y'all. I hate going against a good Destina. A good Destina is a Destina that's 25k on counter set. That's just extremely hard to take down. This unit, if built right, is one of the most tilting units to go against in an arena defense, because every time she counterattacks, she's healing and cleansing a debuff. That's so powerful. That also lets you also put her on. Usually people put her on Touch of Rakos, so if you do any AoE attack, you're healing the whole enemy, she counterattacks, heals another ally, and it's just like, what happened to my damage? So you have to ignore her, but if you ignore her, then she does a massive S3 heal that is just extremely crushing and just removes all your hard work. So very, very powerful unit. Also Earth, which makes it so Seaside can't kill her easy. So if they try to Seaside you, they might find themselves in trouble because they actually might end up getting soloed by a Destina. And she can solo. She's way better than Angelica in that aspect because she's able to take off her debuffs, can counterattack for heals, and can counterattack to cleanse her own debuffs as well if you manage to land them. Such an annoying unit. Mursa, very powerful, very RNG based. 50% innate dodge is really strong. You give her Moonlight Dreamblade, that's 70%. You pair up with an Assassin's Card 2 Hut, that's 85%. If they hit her and they miss, she survives, comes next turn, does an S3, heals. Very high damage, can survive cleaves because of the miss chance, and just gives a lot of RNG to the fight because it makes it scary. Am I going to kill her? Especially if she's protected by an FCC, then you're able to attack and heal off of that. Challenger Dummy, all of these fast teams would not be as good as they are without Challenger Dummy. She's still one of the best combat setters that can pair up really well with Cerise, can pair up really well with Lytica to guarantee you the turn, give you damage, give you crit rate. Out of all of them, she definitely facilitates a lot of this, so that's why I put her in Shark Pick instead of Niche. Could go to Niche because you do need to have that specific team, but again, pretty powerful there. But alright, now we're getting to the top. I kind of want to see how long we've been taking already. So we've taken 44 minutes. So now let's go to the top pick. So I will put this one. Maybe I should actually split up this video. But top pick. This is 5%. So these are actually ordered. For top pick and meta pick are ordered by percentage usage. So if we go to the percentage usage, they are ranked in this order, showing how strong they are. So these units are ordered by how much you can actually use them. So I clicked the wrong tab, but all right. So top 5 picks. This is over 5% usage. So they're extremely strong, really powerful units. If you have these units, you probably are using them to round out your teams, and you should definitely try to incorporate them. So Ambitious Tywin, he has shot up like crazy. His usage rate is up to 19%. Very, very powerful. He's extremely tanky. You slap an Elder Sword on him, can steal souls, which means that soul burns, you can take away soul burns from the enemy, disrupt with the provoke. So with Elder Sword, you can take off souls, you can provoke, disrupt, and then if they don't kill him and he takes a turn, AoE attack that stuns and decreases speed. Absolutely crushing, and the fact that he's a knight just makes him so much tankier than he needs to be. Such a powerful defense unit, so hard to take down, has disruptions, has tankiness, and just has so much annoyingness. F Clury is at 18%. You might be wondering why F Clury. F Clury, as we mentioned, Seaside, extremely popular. Oxlots with Sigrid, which I haven't been talking about a lot, but if you're using an RB, people are going to be trying to bring Sigrid. If you have F Clury, they can't use Sigrid, they can't use Seaside. So they can't, if you have an Arbiter Vildred paired up with your F Falcon or Clury, she's going to be targeting those water units. So it's always a gamble if they're only taking 2 water units. That's a 50-50 for you to just win. You strip their buffs, decrease defense, provoke. It's over for that Seaside or for that Sigrid. They just lost right there and then. And then after that, she's not just there for the S3. She also lets you have healing and combat readiness boosting. She does so much support for your team while also being able to be a massive disruptor. Alencia, 12% usage in Legend Arena. Why is she being used so much? Crimson Armand Seaside is popular. It's very powerful. If you don't have a stripper in your defense, you're going to be getting destroyed. Because if they just Crimson Arm on you and you don't have a stripper, GG. But because Alencia is also Earth, not only is she a stripper, she's also tanky, so she can survive cleaves, can give the team increased defense, and then can take care of Seaside on her own because she's just that powerful. Alencia is so powerful. I hate going against her defense because she's just so tanky, does so much damage, so hard to kill, and just strips all your buffs away. Bazaar. So let's go to B. Roman. So he also wasn't on the list. So Benevolent Roman, a top pick. This guy is powerful. He's basically almost a new Bazaar. So he would go right there. He is basically almost a new Bazaar. He's able to strip like Bazaar, able to stun with the Abyssal Crown like Bazaar, but the other thing that he has that Bazaar didn't is that he also has an extra layer of RNG that is silence for 2 turns. That is very, very dangerous because he can get the strip, he can get the stun, and he can get the silence. He doesn't have the unable to be buffed, which again puts him around the same level, but he can be HU Fiend. I also forgot to mention HU Fiend. She's a very strong pick. Can stop Bazaars and can do a lot of damage. Also can still stop certain cleaves with Lytica because they can just miss on her. So forgot, just real fast there, but alright, back to the top picks. Bazaar, everyone thought he was gone. Y'all, he is not gone. 10%, still there. Why? People haven't been building their HU Fiends. It's a simple matter. I still have my Bazaar, no one's attacking me with HU Fiend. They're usually trying to outspeed me or just GG, you know? So Basar is still extremely powerful. He still pushes back, he still says it's gonna be buffed, and even though they gave us HU Fiend, people still think she's weak, so they haven't built her. So Basar is here to stay. Until people start building HU Fiend, Basar will still be here to stay. Kayron. This one I was surprised about, because Viseria definitely... wait, I made a mistake here. Emoken. So 8%. Emoken. So Emoken, very, very strong unit. Can stop Kise in their tracks. You can't judge Kise him, because he will just murk Judge Kise. If they bring any AoE unit, Emoken is going to be attacking. So when you're trying to protect, particularly with Tempest Surin, because Tempest Surin is one of the best units, and we'll talk about her in a second, but because you have to have AoE to kill Tempest Surin, having an Emoken there, forcing your opponent to attack Emoken with an AoE attack, he's going to be killing the enemy team, and just setting up so much success for the rest of your team. Why is Lilius down here? Whoops. So... that's a yikes. So Lilius, again, we talked about her, kind of messed up there. I don't know why I left her in strong picks. I should have checked the list before I did it. But here is the Lilius. She's a 7%. Very, very powerful. Again, very, very annoying. A lot of support. Tanky. Can push back. Kayron. This is the one I was actually surprised about. I didn't expect Kayron to be this much use. So Kayron, people aren't using Viseria enough yet, which is why Kayron still has a potential to shine. He's a high DPS target that can take units out of the fight immediately, and if you don't deal with him, he can do more than just kill one unit. He's very powerful, will survive with immortality. If you don't bring your Viseria, you can't really touch him, and that makes him so freaking scary. So high DPS, that is hard to deal with. Elena, she's actually here. I didn't put her here, but she's at 5% with Acid, so she's tied with Acid. But Elena, if they bring a cleave, AoE, she's going to heal. The other thing, if they don't try to cleave you, and she doesn't get the heal or the damage reduction, she can also get the invincibility. And then it's just, what are you going to do? So she's a very powerful unit that does damage reduction as a Soul Weaver, which means that you can also give her Touch of Rekka if you're trying to go for a slow one. And she functions similar to Crimson Armin, but the thing about Elena is that she can actually cut into the enemy team's cleave and heal you, which just makes her so powerful. Very, very annoying to deal with. The invincibility, also very, very annoying to deal with. A little bit on the faster side. Does have a faster base speed than Crimson Armin, or about the same. I'd have to double check on that, but has decent base speed, so definitely annoying. You can also build her slower with counterattack, and then you're able to remove debuffs, if you attack. Again, very, very powerful. Assassin Sid stops cleaves in their tracks. Also does very high damage if they try to bruiser you. So very, very fast. Will stop people in their tracks and just do insane amount of damage. Very, very annoying. Very, very fast. Stops cleaves. That's the biggest thing. You can't cleave if an Assassin Sid is there. Krau, I was surprised about. He's honestly, he's the one that actually switched with Lilius. He's the one that should have gone down here. So I'll put him down here. But he was at 3% usage. So pretty used. Again, a knight that if you don't kill, can go 1 for 1. Also gives increased defense. So a very powerful knight that can actually take units out. But alright, I'm starting to get a little tired. I've been talking for a while. But alright, last one but not least. Meta. So these units are on the League of their own. If you have one of these units, there is no reason that you shouldn't have them in your defense. Why? So Fallen Cecilia, these are in order. Number 1, most used. Fallen Cecilia will always be. She's the most broken unit in this game. I said it before, I will say it again. Fallen Cecilia is the most broken unit. Arbitrary, all these other units are nothing without Fallen Cecilia. She gives a massive barrier, has skill nullifier on the S3, does high damage for a knight, is a knight so she can also put knight artifacts, and provides a barrier every single turn, making the team tankier and tankier and tankier. So powerful, so annoying. Oh, and has disruption with the provoke. So is she on Elder Sword? I don't know. If she is, you better hope that she doesn't proc it and stop your cleave halfway. If she's not, very tanky, massive barrier, gives all these other attack dealers. This top meta would not exist if it wasn't for Fallen Cecilia. The best unit, the best arena defense unit. There's no debate. If you don't have her, If you have her and you're not using her, you're doing something wrong. If you have a Fallen Cecilia and she's not on your arena defense, you're doing something wrong. You should already be climbing up to Challenger. Anyone with a Fallen Cecilia should not be lower than Challenger. That's well built, of course, because she's that powerful. She really does that much. Rowana, not far behind, 42%. What do we talk about? Seaside is a big arena offense threat. Who stops her in her tracks? Rowana. So pretty simple. If they do a dual attack, Rowana heals. Now, the thing that's annoying for a cleave, you give her a touch of Rekos. When you hit her the first time, you're healing the whole party by quite a significant amount because Rowanas are tanky. Other thing that she does, a massive S3 heal that gives revive for 2 turns, making it so if you kill an enemy in those 2 turns, it's not going to be looking too pretty for you. So one of the biggest seaside counters and one of the best pair-ups with Tempest Surin. But alright, next up, we are going to be looking at... So let me just double check because I just clicked my my mic. Okay, so it's still working. So Rylet, a little bit less, 38%, extremely annoying, can dodge, does high damage. We all know what Rylet does. He's able to stop Judge Kise because you may not get the kill on him. Pair with Knights, not much you can do with him. And then pair with a Ruel, it's GG, no re. Very, very hard to deal with. Arbiter Vildred, again, we all know what this guy does. He revives and he's annoying. But here's the thing. People think that the best Arbiter Vildred is Alexa's Basket. While that is really good, top level players, what they're doing is 12 to 14k HP Arbiter Vildreds paired with Fallen Cecilias with 4k barriers. So it's an 18k HP Arbiter Vildred on Moonlight Dreamblade on counterattack set. Extremely hard to take down, you're trying to kill, can stop a cleave, can counterattack, push your team back, kill your team, and still do mad S3 damage, and still revive, and they kill him. So he stops people from being able to Angelica him or Sigrid him, because if they miss, GG, you tried. You didn't kill him? Oh, I'm going to come in with my S3, and it's over. Fast Arbiter Vildreds with Alexa's Basket, they proc greater attack buff, oh, they're eating through stuff. But definitely counterattack is the best arena defense build for Arbiter Vildred. It is so toxic. It's so annoying, but again, high damage, hard to kill, comes back to life. Pretty simple. Rella Light, she's another enabler. Without Ruel, a lot of these teams would not work. Ruel makes it so if you have someone that dies, like your Rylet, he's coming right back. And the thing about Ruel is she is almost as tanky as a knight, if not tankier than some knights. She has extremely high HP, extremely high defense. You build her with effect resistance, you better pray you can do high damage to her, because if not, she's going to be bringing units back. So very hard to kill, and just brings a unit back to full health with invincibility. Completely undoes what you did. On Water's Origin, can even stop some cleaves. So again, one of the best arena defense units. I use her, she's broken. She just makes it so annoying for the enemy. If they don't have a Angelica or a Sigrid or someone, your damage dealer is coming back. They're losing work on one unit. If they try to focus her, good luck. You trying to focus her, that's not going to work out too well for you. And last but not least, this unit is becoming a problem. If you ask me, the people who aren't using Tempest Surin, she has a 31% usage rate in Legend Arena. I do not understand why Challenger level players are not using her yet. She is one of the most oppressing units in this game. She has facilitated so many broken defenses. She stops Glebe, she stops Seaside, she stops tanks, she does disruptions, she stops knights, and she's hard to kill. She does everything for you. And the fun fact, if you didn't know this, Surin can't be one-shot. You can only do 51% of her health at a time. Y'all know what's, you guys know something? Fallen Cecilia gives a shield. With a Fallen Cecilia and a Tempest Surin, you need 3 attacks to kill a Tempest Surin. 3 attacks minimum. If you're not attacking her 3 times, good luck. Oh, and you try to kill her the first time, oh, she's below 70% now. So you know what happens? She gets 30% combat readiness and gets stealthed. So if you don't have any AoE, how are you going to touch her? Oh, but then they have a Rowana on Idol's Cheer. So now she's getting 50% combat readiness. She does an AoE attack that does mad damage, kills your units, and then if you have her on lifesteal, back to full health. Fallen Cecilia goes, gives her another barrier. Now you're back to 3 hits. And then if she's on speed set, so now let's say she's on speed set, right? You do your first attack. She drops below 70. She takes her turn, does AoE. You use your next unit. If you're not going for her, because there's all these other knights and well of lights and all this other stuff trying to protect her, you don't go for her, she immediately gets a 30%. I still think Lifesteal is the best set on her, but oh my god, yo, this is the... I wish I... Man, let me add some real quick. Y'all, if you have a Tempest and a Fallen Cecilia, you have some of the best defenses. If y'all wanted to know, this is the most popular this combination with either this or this or this or this is one of the most popular combinations in arena defense as of right now. So again, what can I tell you? These two are insane. But that is all I have for you guys today. I know it's a long one. Thank y'all for sticking around. Y'all are the MVPs. But yeah, leave any comments if you agree, disagree with the list. And I'll see y'all next time. Here's the last time going through the list. And here's last time used the units that weren't used. But yeah, that is all I have for you guys today. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.